Hello everyone, it's Kelly Cahoot and I'd like to welcome you back to the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel and day 3 of sneak peeks on our Holiday Wishes release. Make sure you check out the information box below for all the details on our Holiday Wishes release and our release party. First, I'd like to share our newest freebie for this release. This is the Wishes Stamp and Coordinating Die. Now these are free while supplies last with orders of $100 or more. So with this freebie, you will get a little stamp set with the scripty word wishes, and then there are Christmas wishes, winter wishes, best wishes, holiday wishes, and birthday wishes. So you can mix and match those sentiments. There's also a coordinating die for the wishes word. Next is our newest 3D embossing folder, and this is called the Snowy Pine 3D embossing folder. I'm going to open it up first and let you see all of that amazing detail that is pressed into your paper. You can see all the little hills and valleys there. Now I'm going to put this little piece of paper in so we can get a better look at all of those great details, all those little pine needles and pine cones, and even little flakes of snow kind of fluttering in the background. Now this cardstock is just a craft piece of cardstock. I've done some selective ink blending on the little pine needles and the pine cones. Even the back sides of these when you emboss them are beautiful. So this is the Snowy Pine 3D embossing folder. Next is a beautiful sentiment set, and this is called Peace, Love, and Joy. There are stamps and the coordinating dies. I love the peace, love, Noel, and joy words. They're beautiful. I love the little tails on those. I love that the letters are open, so you can do some Copic coloring. You can do some emboss resist with your inks. And of course, there are the little mix and match sentiments that you can pair along with those. There is a coordinating die set that's going to cut out every one of those great sentiments. Now I love the next Floral Stamp Set. There are large solid stamps in this set. You can see the beautiful flowers there. There's also all kinds of little greenery pieces. What is so cool about this is those stamps are solid, so you can ink blend directly on the stamp. Now, if you'll notice, there are pine pieces, but there's also some other greenery pieces. So if you wanted to change the colors up for spring and summer, you could do that with these flowers. Next is our watercolor pines stamps and coordinating dies. Now these are solid little trees and tree trunks as well. I love the outlines around these stamps so it's easy to know which tree goes with which tree trunk. And then there's also the coordinating dies that go along with this stamp set as well. So as with the other stamp set that I showed you, the winter watercolor, you can ink blend directly onto these stamps and stamp that onto your paper and get some really cool ink blends. You could mist your stamp with water and have a really cool watercolor look. Die cut that with the coordinating dies and then add those to your cards. Next is the Good Tidings stamps and coordinating dies. So this is a beautiful spray of pine needles, holly and berries, and pine cones. There's lots of great greetings in this stamp set as well, like good tidings of comfort and joy, happy holidays, have yourself a merry little Christmas, and Feliz Navidad. There's also a coordinating die set and a coordinating stencil set. As you can see, there are 6 different stencils that's going to help you color in every bit of that beautiful piney pine cone image. Now this next beautiful stamp set was drawn by Kelly Taylor, and it is called the Pine and Berry Centerpiece. It has a beautiful lantern. There are bells and pine and berries and holly. There's even little candles and a bow. Now the coordinating die set is really cool because you can die cut all of those images and the Merry Christmas sentiment. And the lantern is super cool because it's going to die cut around the edge, and then this funny little die is going to cut out the insides of the lantern. So if you wanted to put in the candles or have your little pine sprays and holly leaves and berries kind of poke out the sides, you can do that with this stamp and coordinating die set. Another stamp set drawn by the awesome Kelly Taylor is the Holiday Blooms stamps. Now this is a beautiful amaryllis floral. You can see all the different options that Kelly has given you here in her drawings. There's the little pot, there's an amaryllis with a single bloom and some leaves, there's the single flowers, and there's also the amaryllis there to the top left that has a couple of different blooms on it. There are lots of great greetings included in this stamp set as well, like season's greetings, peace on earth, with love on Christmas, thank you, hello friend, and more. Now the coordinating die set is awesome. It's going to cut out every one of those awesome images and sentiments. Okay, it's time to create a card with some of today's crafty goodies. I am taking the winter watercolor stamps and coordinating dies, and I'm going to do a really pretty holiday card. I'm lining up all my dies or setting them in the MISTI on just some white cardstock, and I am going to ink blend directly onto all of these stamps. So I'm going to close the door on my MISTI and pick up all of those solid stamps. I'm going to start out with the florals, and I'm going to use lumberjack plaid, festive berries, and saltwater taffy. I'm going to start out with inking those big flowers with saltwater taffy. That's going to be the lightest color. And then I'm going to blend on the festive berries, kind of radiating out from the center. And I like to do this with a little finger dauber. So you can see I'm concentrating that festive berries ink right towards the center. And then I am going to do the other stamp as well. And then I'm going to concentrate the lumberjack plaid, which is the really deep, rich red, right toward the center of each flower. So once I get the flowers inked up the way that I think that I'm going to like them, that is that lumberjack plaid there, I'm going to close the door on my MISTI and give that a good press with my pressure tool, and then open the door, and I can kind of look to see if I'm liking the way all of those colors are looking, if I need to add anything here or there. Now you'll notice the deeper red centers, and then it fades out to the saltwater taffy on the outside or the tips of the petals. Now I'm going to go back in with the lumberjack plaid and the festive berries and kind of add ink to those stamps, stamp it down, open the door, and kind of take a look to see if I'm liking the way that everything's looking. And that's what's kind of so cool about these solid stamps, or any kind of solid stamps, is you can leave it in your MISTI and stamp it over and over again until you get it exactly the way that you want it to look. So if you'll notice on the finished flowers there, where we have a concentrated gathering or the ink of that lumberjack plaid right towards the center, and then it fades out into the festive berries and then the saltwater taffy. Now I'm going to ink up some of the little greenery pieces, and I've inked up those leaves with iced spruce is going to be the darkest color, and then I'm going in with peeled paint down the center, like down the stem part. I'm going to add a bunch of pressure to this with my pressure tool, and then you can see my little puddles and my little ink that's gathered up there. I'm going to go over this again with the iced spruce on the outside or on the tips of the leaves, and then with peeled paint right down the center. And again, I can keep going over this and adding ink and stamping that down until I get those greenery pieces exactly the way I want them. And I really like the way that those are looking now, just after adding ink a couple of times. Next, I'm doing the little stems that have the little buds and the little flowers on the edges. I'm going in with a dark rustic wilderness down the stem, and then on the outsides I'm going in with the saltwater taffy, which is the lightest pink that we used on our big flowers that look like poinsettias almost. And I'm just going to tap that on with my sponge daubers and go around both of those little stems, and then I can close the MISTI door and see how our little blooms, or see what they're looking like, and see if I need to add any more ink in certain places. I can close the door on my Misty, and again I'm going to use my pressure tool and give that a lot of love there. And now you can see those green stems and then the little pink buds or flowers at the edge of each stem. Now I'm going to use the coordinating dies and cut out every one of these great images to add these to my card. Now that I have all of my little florals die cut and all ready to go, I can kind of fiddle around and arrange these exactly the way that I want them. So you can see I've used all of the little pine pieces and the two little flowers and then the little stems that have the little buds or whatever on the ends of them. You can see how easily this can be changed into something for a more tropical looking card. Just don't use the pine pieces, or something for summertime. Now I have die cut a background piece out of our new decorative star layering frames, and I've done some coordinating, kind of a blushy pink cardstock that coordinates perfectly with the saltwater taffy oxide ink. And I'm just going to arrange all of our little pieces to get them exactly the way that I want them. Now, once I've done all the fiddling and arranging, I can take the good old press and seal and pick up my whole bouquet, and I just press that into the little adhesive pieces that are in the press and seal. And I'm going to add adhesive to all of the greenery pieces, but not the flowers on the top. And I'm gonna pop those up with a little bit of our adhesive foam. And so I'm getting way over the top of this to make sure that I get it lined up nicely, and then I can press that liquid adhesive into that blushy pink background. And I'm carefully going to raise the press and seal. I can make sure everything is pressed into place, and you'll notice that those two little flowers are still exactly where I left them on the press and seal. And now I can add the foam to that and then repress those back onto my little floral design that I have going on. Now I can release the press and seal and set it aside to use another day, and now we are ready to move on with our card. Now I decided at the last minute that this needed some kind of holiday ribbon or a little bow, so I'm using some crinkle ribbon or seam binding to wrap around this little card and get it all tucked into place with a nice little bow. And now I can stamp a sentiment. I just have a piece of scrap paper, and I am using the peeled paint ink that I used on some of the greenery and stamping "Thinking of You." And I stamped that several times to make sure I got a really good impression. And you'll notice that I didn't apply a lot of pressure to the Misty door. Anytime you have a really fine, dainty sentiment, you just kind of want to tap or add just a light little bit of pressure. The more bulky the sentiment or more detailed, the big, large stamp, you can add more pressure to the Misty door that way, and then you'll get a good impression. Next, I can take the coordinating die and cut this out. Now, once I decided where to put the sentiment, I always like to move it around to decide exactly the best place to put it. I don't know if you do the same thing, but I can never decide where to put the sentiment and where to put the pearls or the gems. So I'm taking some of our adhesive pearls now in a really pretty green that's going to coordinate, and I'm placing those right into the center of the little flowers. And those are going to act as the centers of the flowers, but also a little holiday shimmer right in the center of our pretty little red and pink flowers. Now here's a look at the finished card. I hope you've enjoyed all the products that I've shown you today in Day 3 sneak peeks. Make sure you check out the description box below for all the information on our Holiday Wishes release and our release party. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.